What if I told you the most dramatic twist in Lady Mary Crawley's life hasn't happened yet? And this time, fans are actually rooting for the heartbreak. You heard that right. Viewers are hoping Mary says goodbye to her current husband. Why? Let's break it down. As rumors swirl about a possible 7th season of Downton Abbey, potentially dropping before the end of 2024, longtime fans are already stirring the pot with speculation. And leading the conversation is Lady Mary and her relationship, or lack thereof, with Henry Talbot. To many viewers, that romance has felt mismatched from the start. The chemistry was never electric, and Matthew Good, who plays Henry, has been largely missing in action, especially in a new era. Between his tight filming schedule and the lukewarm spark between him and Michelle Dockery, fans are starting to wonder if Mary deserves better. Or maybe, no man at all. Imagine the Crawley household rocked by a quiet but firm divorce scandal. It wouldn't just spice up the season, it would finally give Mary the kind of character arc she's long overdue. After all, her story has always been a blend of elegance, loss, and resilience. From the very beginning, Mary Crawley has faced heartbreak with a composed, razor-sharp edge. The show opened with the Titanic tragedy, which claimed the life of her fiancé, Patrick. That wasn't just a romantic blow. It threw the estate's future into crisis. But Mary didn't crumble. She took stock, understood what it meant for her position, and moved forward with measured resolve. That's when viewers got their first glimpse of the iron beneath her grace. And then came Kemal Pamuk, the Turkish diplomat whose brief visit turned scandalous overnight. Mary, pulled in by his charm, made herself vulnerable, and woke up to find him dead in her bed. The panic, the secrecy, the midnight moving of his body with the help of Anna and Cora, it was one of the most shocking plot twists in the entire series. And the fallout stayed with Mary for years. She was branded with a reputation she had to work hard to outgrow. But just when it looked like romance would always be Mary's downfall, Matthew Crawley entered the picture. At first, he seemed more like a practical fix to the inheritance crisis than a romantic prospect. Yet over time, something genuine blossomed. Matthew eventually proposed, but Mary, still haunted by the shadows of her past, felt she needed to tell him the truth. She hesitated. And when Cora's unexpected pregnancy introduced a new heir, the engagement collapsed. Then came war. Matthew went off to fight in World War I, and when he returned, it was with a new fiancée, Lavinia Swire. But even as he stood beside Lavinia, it was clear that neither he nor Mary had really moved on. Their connection kept pulling them back, even as guilt and duty tried to keep them apart. Through it all, Mary stood by Matthew, especially after his paralysis. Lavinia's death opened the door for their feelings to resurface, but Matthew, weighed down by grief, pushed Mary away. Still, she remained strong. She ended her engagement to Richard Carlisle, a man who could offer power but not love. It was a defining move, proof that Mary wouldn't settle just to feel secure. Eventually, the stars aligned. Mary and Matthew reunited and married in a beautiful Christmas special that felt like a true fairy tale. The birth of their son, George, seemed to mark the start of a new, peaceful chapter. But peace doesn't last long at Downton. Matthew's sudden car crash, just hours after George's birth, devastated viewers. It was a crushing blow. Mary was left a widow, a single mother, and a woman surrounded by memory and loss. Season 4 began with her drowning in grief. She wore black every day. Her voice was quiet, her presence muted. But as always, she found her way back, thanks to Carson, Tom, and the support of her family. Then the suitors came knocking. Lord Gillingham, Evelyn Napier, Charles Blake, each brought something different to the table. But it was Blake who really stood out. Clever, grounded, a bit sardonic. He saw Mary for who she was beyond the title. Many fans believed he was the perfect match, but the writers had other plans. And then came Henry Talbot, a race car driver with a tragic past and a handsome face. But from the beginning, Mary felt uneasy, not because he wasn't good on paper, but because she couldn't separate him from her trauma. Matthew had died in a car crash. Falling for a man who lived for speed felt like tempting fate. Tom Branson encouraged the relationship, believing Henry was a perfect fit. But for many fans, it never quite landed. Their romance lacked tension. Their wedding felt more like a formality than a triumph of love. When a new era came around, Henry was barely even there. His scenes were so brief they felt like cameos. Their marriage, which should have been blooming, seemed more like background noise. Fans haven't been shy about their opinions. Across social media, message boards, and fan pages, people are calling for Mary to move on. Some even compare Good's appearance here to his character in The Good Wife, another charming add-on who showed up after the main romance ended, only to leave fans cold. And speaking of rushed romances, Tom Branson pulled something similar with Sybil. Remember how Sybil told him she wasn't even sure she liked him? Yet Tom powered ahead like he'd already won her heart. It begs the question, why is it always the women who are pushed to move on quickly? Nobody pressured Tom to remarry after Sybil's death. But Mary? After 2 seasons of mourning, the matchmaking began like her grief had an expiration date. Which brings us back to now. If Season 7 is truly on the horizon, perhaps the best plot twist would be Mary choosing herself. Not in anger, not in bitterness, but with clarity. Because sometimes the most powerful thing a woman can do is say, I've had enough. Maybe Charles Blake really was the better match. Or maybe the point is that Mary doesn't need a match at all. Her strength was never about who she ended up with. It was in how she kept moving, no matter what life took from her. So what do you think? Is it time for Mary to walk away from Henry for good? Was Blake the one who got away? Or has the time finally come for Downton's leading lady to take the reins of her life with no man at her side? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into Downton's most dramatic storylines, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more high society tea and aristocratic chaos. Until next time, keep the tea hot and the scandals even hotter.